the map, anything from a heat wave in a lot of the west to some thunderstorms in the Midwest and parts of the east, and a new tropical depression in the Pacific Ocean. Thanks for tuning in to Storm Watch and the Weather Channel. I'm Mike Bono. Let's take a look at first some of the stormy potential that we have moving through the eastern third of the nation and mainly the northeast, although we did have some action further south in Florida and North Carolina, now moving out to sea. But there's a big grand arc, and we'll show you that on the national satellite, a broad trough running through the eastern two-thirds of the nation. On the eastern end, clouds and rainfall, more of a northerly component headed up through eastern New England, Maine turning rainy overnight, New Hampshire coastline, parts of Massachusetts, Boston, Cape Cod, and on into Rhode Island. Just rain, no terribly stormy weather, but signs of some clearing skies coming through Lake Ontario, western New York, and moving up through the Delmarva. So, places like New York, Philly, Harrisburg, maybe Long Island, Jersey, getting some breaks of sun for the first time in quite a while, until the next unsettled weather system moves on in from the Midwest, already causing some problems in parts of Illinois with some wind and even wind damage potential. Some of these storms moving toward Indiana, and we had up to 1.5 inches of rain in a little over an hour in Carbondale and Marion, Illinois. Some stormy potential in western Kentucky and Tennessee as that batch of energy or upper level trough moves toward the east coast Tuesday. Still another beginning to come down through North Dakota and Minnesota that will cause more large storm potential Tuesday and Wednesday in the Midwest. And even overnight, some thunderstorms possible in northern Minnesota. But the threat areas of scattered storms that could produce wind and hail damage in Illinois, parts of Kentucky and Tennessee, with thunder, Indianapolis, Toledo, and maybe Cincinnati overnight. Nothing serious. Could be a flooding potential, though, in anywhere where the Wabash comes together with the Mississippi River and down toward the Tennessee River as well. Some pretty heavy rains of 1 to 2 inches and spotty rains in Minnesota. A little bit of a soaker in southeast New England and back on down into Florida. Here's that big picture showing the jet stream and high-level winds bowing down through a broad trough. Now, the eastern end of that trough has the most energy typically and the most tropical moisture, so low pressure actually spinning up off the North Carolina coast after some large hail reports in eastern North Carolina and Florida during the day Monday. But the scenario will play out, and more troughs coming down from Canada for the next day or so as a ridge dominates the west. A very intense ridge at that, and a very warm one with record highs through much of the west. The next shot of energy and precipitation could be raining down on the Washington coastline within 24 hours or so, maybe northern Oregon, but west of the Cascades seems to be the only threat area, and not too much of a threat at that. Way above average from Amarillo, Texas, some hundreds in Texas, and back on into the southwest, and much cooler into the northeast, where it only hovered in the 50s the last couple of days in Boston, New York. Maybe you'll get a break during the day Tuesday, but temperatures 90s to 100 in Texas, 110 plus in the desert. Phoenix should hit 110 Tuesday. Some wind and some showers to the north, but much cooler on the west coast. Well, we've got a tropical depression to talk about, and this one is southwest of Acapulco, but some of the spiral bands could be impacting the coast with flood potential and maybe even mudslides. It's well offshore, at least the center is almost 200 miles southwest of Acapulco, but paralleling the coastline 13 miles an hour. In the next couple of days, we'll have to see. It should intensify to tropical storm Aletta, but it may even curve back toward the coast. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, the forecast maps show one low out to sea, but another couple of troughs coming through the Midwest and the east with more thunderstorm potential. There, the rainfall potential and the heat potential. A very hot day in a lot of the central and southwest U.S. Your local forecast is next.
Find out what the ancient tarot has to tell you.
The Empress card. She's pregnant.
No.
Yes, she is.
Is the baby mine?
Sorry, Mark.
She hasn't called you because she's having an affair with your new husband.
No. No!
Uh-huh.
I see from the Queen of Cups, he's still seeing his ex-wife.
He's what?
Yes, he's still seeing her.
I'm seeing the King of Cups here, Frank. She's staying with her old boyfriend.
What?
The Ace of Swords, along with the Ace of Wands, tells me that you recently found out you're not just having one boy, you're having twin boys.
That's amazing. That really is incredible. How could you possibly know I'm having twin boys? Wow.
Don't hesitate any longer. Try it now. Pick up the phone and call for your free tarot reading right now.
Call 1-800-711-1454.
It's the Boogie Bass, the original singing, dancing, and talking fish. Boogie Bass is motion activated, singing hilarious parodies like the famous Pretty Fishy. What a lovely bass, pretty fishy. How can you walk past pretty? And who could forget? I use that.
9 before the hour, time for Storm Watch, and we have a new update just into the Weather Channel. It concerns the first tropical storm of the season in the eastern Pacific, and it's Tropical Storm Aletta, located at 2 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time at 14.8 north and 102.1 west. That puts the center of Aletta 190 miles south-southwest of Acapulco, Mexico. Top winds have increased to about 40 miles per hour. The tropical storm basically paralleling the west coast of Mexico, moving west-northwest at 10. The pressure, 1,002 millibars. On the satellite picture, the center of Tropical Storm Aletta, right in here off the coast. The water temperatures are warm, and notice the upper-level clouds spiral out anticyclonically. In other words, there's a high pressure above this system, high pressure system above it, and that is a favorable type situation for some intensification. And that is the forecast as Aletta drifts slowly off to the west-northwest. Now, the main threat at this time would be the feeder bands, the outer circulation of this tropical storm producing heavy rain, mudslides, rock slides, that type of thing, flash flooding in the western part of Mexico. So once again, Tropical Storm Aletta, the first tropical storm of the season in the eastern Pacific. Now back to the states we go, and unsettled weather mainly east of the Rockies on this Tuesday morning, with clusters of showers and thunderstorms, the heaviest of which now are in Middle Tennessee, where the warnings, by the way, have all expired for the counties near Nashville. And a pretty good-sized thunderstorm cell over southeast Illinois was originally severe about a half an hour ago. That severe thunderstorm warning has been discontinued too. Now the storm in Hamilton County. Well, the story for the Northeast is light rain, coastal Maine, Bar Harbor to Portland and Brunswick. Portland, and I mentioned Portland, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, the light rain ending. Boston, the story for you, cloud-covered skies. There's a little drizzle around, but the significant precipitation has ended for the time being. Hartford and Springfield, too. There are a few more light showers up on the west slopes of the Green Mountains in central and northern portions of Vermont. Let's go out to the west to Pittsburgh, where skies are partly cloudy at this hour, but notice off to the west, rain gradually easing in your direction. So the bottom line for the northeast and Great Lakes, one low pressure area exiting, one coming in from the west. Now in between, there's going to be an area where the atmosphere stabilizes and dries out some. So that could include D.C., Philadelphia, and New York City, as well as possibly Boston. And by drying out, maybe a mix of clouds and sunshine developing. Temperatures warming up a little bit into the 60s and 70s this afternoon. Off to the west, Great Lakes area covered by general low pressure. That means a widespread area of scattered showers from Kentucky and Ohio into Michigan, Wisconsin, upper Michigan, parts of Illinois, and Missouri showers for you. It's light rain around Findlay, east of Cincinnati. Heavier showers approaching Indianapolis, light to moderate showers. Here's that heavy thunderstorm that rumbled southeast, was severe for a while, now is a non-severe storm crossing Interstate 64 there in southeast Illinois. Showers Lexington, showers in London, showers and storms in Tennessee have been severe too. The heaviest cells now moving south of Nashville. Again, the warnings have expired. Notice northeast Alabama is seeing shower and thunderstorm activity, and Chattanooga will soon, and it could be a possibility that the north side of Atlanta could get a thunderstorm later this morning if these showers and storms hold together, and they seem to be doing so pretty well at this point. Off to the west in Texas, dry, warm conditions. The situation in the west today, breezy and hot, especially in the desert southwest. No precipitation in sight. There's that possibility of a little sun in New York, scattered storms in D.C. and Pittsburgh, also Nashville to Memphis. Dallas, hot today. Omaha, too. Chicago up to 81, but not nearly as hot as the 110 in Phoenix. Now, let's go on and check the latest situation for your holiday weekend. Cheryl?
A couple fast-moving weather systems will drop across the nation's midsection later on this weekend, and they will eventually impact those of you across the east. Well, as we start off the holiday weekend, though, on Saturday, do expect some scattered showers and storms throughout the upper plain states. Perhaps some sloppy weather around Omaha, Des Moines, Iowa, and around Minneapolis. So factor that into your outdoor plans this weekend. If you are making plans for a backyard barbecue or a picnic, it could be rather wet for portions of the heartland. And eventually those showers and thunderstorms start to migrate off towards the east. So the weather could potentially be going downhill around Pittsburgh and Buffalo on into Nashville. Even Atlanta could see a stray shower or two for your Sunday, but luckily won't be an all-day rain event. Certainly won't be that. So you can still squeeze in some outdoor plans, we think, across the east. And as far as temperatures are concerned, it stays very, very warm across the south. Lots of 80s and 90s, scorching 100s, though, across the southwest. But the place to go to escape the heat is across the north. Temperatures far more comfortable for the next few days and even for the upcoming holiday weekend. Highs basically in the 70s and a few 60s, too, across the north. So, again, a big contrast with those temperatures.
Well, spring continues in some spots and a taste of July in other locations. Stay with us. First Outlook returns.
Dad says Gemini car care centers are so easy to find. All you do is connect the dots.
Visit Gemini.Goodyear.com for straight answers, upfront pricing, and a nationwide warranty. Gemini Automotive Care.
We're making drivers smile.
Gemini Automotive Care. We're making drivers smile.
I'm not very big, said the little blue engine, but we must get over the mountains before the children awake. I think I can.
Expect fair skies Thursday through Saturday with temperatures in the 80s on Thursday.
Severe storms in the Tennessee Valley producing hail up to 2 inches in diameter, plus Tropical Storm Aletta in the East Pacific. We'll cover both features as we head toward this edition of Storm Watch. I'm Bob Stokes. Let's take a look at Nashville and take a look at areas west. There are 2 severe thunderstorm watches in effect as we cover the southeastern part of the country first, and we'll get to Tropical Storm Aletta. But this is an area where we have had a major breakout of multi-celled storms across Kentucky and Tennessee, producing hail up to 2 inches in diameter in Breckinridge County, and it appears the hail is not over, nor the gusty winds. So Nashville, headed back toward West Tennessee and Kentucky, is where we could see more severe weather. Now let's take a look at the threat on our severe thunderstorm map. It actually extends into the Ohio Valley as we've got a series of troughs at the surface, plus we've just got a messy jet stream flow across the northern branch of the country and a series of upper air disturbances and moisture coming in from the south, all coming together to produce this. Earlier, I would say about a couple of hours ago, looking at the radar, all of a sudden these storms just broke out all at once. They just bam, and appearing in, say, southeastern Missouri, western Kentucky, and they've been moving southeastward ever since. And we've got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Fayette County, Tennessee, right there around the Memphis area. So driving around out of Germantown, let's say, headed toward Jackson, or around Shiloh National Park, looks like some severe thunderstorms headed your way. So please be careful around Fayette. These are dangerous storms, and it looks like a severe storm, or at least a very strong storm, a severe storm headed toward Nashville and Clarksville. In fact, let's take a look at it from another perspective. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Trigg County, moving toward the east-southeast at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. In some cases, some of these storms are moving up to 45. We've seen various forward motion speeds with each individual storm, but anywhere from 30 to 45, generally toward an easterly and southeasterly direction. Also in Edmondson, Kentucky, or Edmondson County, Kentucky, a severe thunderstorm warning as these move toward the southeast. Look at that, headed right toward I-65. So these are dangerous cells with lightning accompanying these storms, and you can see we've got just a lot of moisture at the mid-levels. This is the subtropical jet, by the way. It's the northern branch of the jet that's been quite active. But we've just seen a series of impulses just rotating in this flow. A little difficult to pinpoint, but there's a number of them. And you can see on our surface map, Melissa handing me a new warning right now. Let me pass it on to you. Thanks, Melissa. And this is for Tennessee in Hardeman County in southwest Tennessee. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 11:15 local time. So you saw all the cells, and that's why at the surface a trough. But let's head from this trough northward where it's still unstable. I told you, as I mentioned, we could even see some strong storms in the Ohio Valley, but mainly just messy weather right now, wet weather with some of the heavier rainfall as we head toward the western part of Pennsylvania. This batch of rain, by the way, headed toward New York City tonight. Let's shift from the domestic scene, the U.S., to the tropics, where as of 2 o'clock this morning Pacific time, the first tropical depression became our first tropical storm in the East Pacific season. Tropical storm Aletta, as of 8 o'clock Pacific time, 460 miles south of Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, with winds of 45 miles per hour, moving toward the west-northwest at 8 miles per hour. That general direction expected. And as you take a look at it, good symmetry, good outflow. You can see the cirrus clouds, and it's expected to actually strengthen as it moves toward the west-northwest, but moving away from Mexico. And as we take a look at a close-up, the main threat to Mexico, some pretty some heavy rainfall, but very good organization.
You may leave North Carolina once you've finished vacationing here. But one thing's for sure, North Carolina will never leave you.
For a great vacation to North Carolina, call 1-800-VISIT-NC.
Well, it's a scorcher out there today, folks. Here's one just...
AC not working? Don't go to extremes. Go to Penske Auto Center or Penske Max Air AC Recharge Service. We'll inspect and diagnose your system and replace your refrigerant so you'll stay cool. Penske Auto Center. It's the quality car care system.
Penske Max Air AC Recharge Service. Special $129.99 price. Includes up to 2 pounds of refrigerant.
Penske Auto Center, the quality car care system.
Last spring, there were approximately 1,300 tornadoes in the U.S. At any given moment, there's over 1,800 thunderstorms around the world. That's why we're here, with the most meteorologists of any network, to give you expert round-the-clock forecasting.
Saturday, expect a chance of thunderstorms.
We have numerous tornado warnings out now in the state of Ohio. We also have damage reported in Kentucky from tornadoes. Good evening. Welcome to Storm Watch. I'm Kim Perez. Let's show you the situation out here tonight. Again, for some of you, this is very serious tonight. Again, we've had a report of a tornado touching down in Leachfield in Kentucky and doing a lot of damage to the town here tonight. Now we have tornado warnings out in Ohio. And let me check to make sure I have all of them here. It looks like Perry County as well as Marion, Morrow, and Crawford counties in Ohio. So folks, if you live there, please take cover now. If you have a basement, that's the best place to go. If you don't have a basement, go to the lowest level of your house, an interior room, preferably maybe a closet or a bathroom, and stay away from the windows. And on the way, pick up a couple of pillows or a blanket if you can. So again, we've had isolated tornadoes out here tonight, as well as some very gusty winds and some large hail too. So it's just like yesterday, a couple of troughs moving through the area. And typically you wouldn't think that you'd get a lot of severe weather from just a trough where the air is just converging, you know, having a real good differential between the temperatures or the dew points. But we've been seeing some pretty good lift with these troughs, and we've been seeing that northwest flow a lot, bringing in a few disturbances that have actually helped fire up these thunderstorms, and of course dew points in the 50s and 60s across the region. And it looks like these troughs will be heading to the East Coast tomorrow. So that may be our threat for tomorrow. But at least right now we're looking at the threat in the Ohio Valley and the Tennessee Valley. Severe thunderstorm watch in effect for you folks in Cleveland as well as Pittsburgh tonight, and Columbus, Cincinnati, you're not in this watch. But it looks like Lexington on southward is under a severe thunderstorm watch, and then westward we have a tornado watch in effect, which means conditions are right for tornadoes. Now, we do have, again, this severe thunderstorm watch outlining parts of northeastern Ohio. We do have many severe thunderstorm warnings out across this region, right across Interstate 70 here tonight. A lot of thunderstorms. If you can avoid this area, it's probably a good idea if you do it tonight. Expect, again, large hail, damaging winds, and isolated tornadoes with these thunderstorms. Eventually, these thunderstorms will make it into Pittsburgh, so folks in Pittsburgh should be battening down the hatches tonight. In Kentucky, we've had a few thunderstorms as well, producing even tornadoes tonight. Campbellsville as well as Leachfield having tornadoes reported with one supercell that is now, this is the one that produced the one in Leachfield, southwest of Louisville. It is now getting ready to cross the border into Tennessee. So if you are right across the border in Tennessee and this supercell is heading towards you, you need to be taking cover. Now, earlier we had a huge thunderstorm actually moving into Knoxville, and we have a tornado warning out for Scott County in eastern Tennessee. So folks in eastern Tennessee should be watching out as well here. It looks like it's Doppler indicated, moving southeast at 45, Smoky Junction and Norma. Folks there should be taking cover tonight. And it looks like in Detroit, a few thunderstorms have moved through, but most of the action is pretty much over with. In Cleveland, it looks pretty good. You're still under that watch. Looks like most of the activity is off to your south. Now, as I talked about, we are looking at the potential for severe weather tomorrow. Where tomorrow? Well, where we see the red, that's where we think the best chances are. It looks like maybe just north of New York City tomorrow afternoon, and then back again into eastern Kentucky, eastern Tennessee, the Appalachians, and even southern West Virginia tonight or tomorrow, looking at the potential for some severe weather. And again, isolated tornadoes not out of the question. Well, what's happening in the Northeast right now? Well, we are looking at some rain moving in out ahead of this. We'll be looking at rain coming down in New York City, but no severe weather expected, not until tomorrow, folks. So that will be the day you have to keep an eye on the kids and kind of bring them in a little bit early as these storms approach. Boston, it'll be a little while before the rain gets to you. But either way, the problem with rain in the Northeast is that we don't really need any more. We have flooding problems here in New York State, so looks like we'll get an additional inch out of this one. We'll talk about these storms again in Weather Center after your local forecast.
Oh, Beanie in school did nothing for me. I got sent out into the hot sun almost every day.
Outside.
Then one morning, we got a new Heil air conditioner. With Heil's 100-year heritage of dependability, I know I can count on quiet, efficient cooling year after year. Now it's so cool and comfortable inside.
Have you seen my other shoe?
I stay on my best behavior. My family says our Heil unit behaves even better than I do. Then how come I'm the one who gets to stay inside? Depend on Heil.
Call your local Heil dealer today and ask about their Quiet Comfort 2 gas furnace or heat pump.
There's one product guaranteed to hide the signs of aging and turn back the hands of time. Of course, to work for you, you'll need several gallons.
Make your old deck look younger with Flood Solid Color Deck and Siding Stain, the only one guaranteed not to peel. 5 years on decks and 15 years on siding.
There's one product guaranteed to hide the signs of aging and turn back the hands of time. Of course, to work for you, you'll need several gallons.
Make your old deck look younger with Flood Solid Color Deck and Siding Stain, the only one guaranteed not to peel. 5 years on decks and 15 years on siding.
Get the allergy report and everything else you need to know at weather.com. Well, almost everything. Visit weather.com for everything you need to know to enjoy your garden.
Tropical season begins actually May 15th, so we're well into it already, and we have our first tropical storm. We'll talk about that. But first, let's talk about the heat in the west. And boy, is it settled in here. It's going to be that way for a while. Notice the lack of clouds. There's a little bit of clouds out there, but not enough to cool you down at all in San Francisco, where we're at 80 degrees right now. So that's pretty warm in San Francisco. Here along the coast, we're only in the 60s here from Los Angeles into San Diego because of the marine layer that has kept you a little bit cool here tonight. And we are expecting, though, tomorrow the conditions to be about the same in this area. So expect some records again today, and maybe in Phoenix and in Las Vegas. We'll have those records coming up here shortly. But now let's talk about the tropics. We have our first tropical storm, Aletta, and the winds are at 50 miles per hour, moving west at 6 miles per hour. And it looks like the trend will continue to be moving it off to the west a little bit, maybe slowing down a little bit, but actually keeping it as a tropical storm at least through the next 48 hours or so. It looks like now that you're seeing still a lot of convection right around the center. So, you know, I guess there's some room for some increasing in intensity, at least over the next 24 hours or so, possibly up to 70 miles per hour or so. We'll keep you up to date on this. But now, let's get an update on that forecast and find out where this severe weather is headed with Paul.
Well, on the forecast, we'll start with Wednesday morning, and we'll still see a few more showers, maybe even some thunderstorms lingering in parts of the Tennessee and Kentucky area. As we head throughout the day, watch out as this trough continues to press through the Ohio Valley into the northeast. We combine that with the daytime heating, and we're going to see more strong, perhaps more severe thunderstorms, this time breaking out from the northeast.